Hello and welcome to my July-August newsletter video update. I have lots to share with you, including a follow-up on the trades that I shared with you in my previous newsletter video and 2 new trades that I opened last week, as well as an update on the latest market action. Now, if you missed my last newsletter video, you can view it from my website under the resources section or from my YouTube channel. But before I get started, I just need to remind you that I'm not licensed to provide any personal investment advice. This video and all the charts and trades I share are for illustrative purposes only, and I'm just showing you how I view the current market and sharing this with you. So let's move on and check out what the market's been doing over the last couple of months. On the screen here I have Metastock open with the ASX 200. And this is a good update for me also because I've only just started moving back into the market as well because I've been away for the past 2 months. So the ASX 200 has been battling to stay above the 5,000 level. It keeps pushing above it, and then back in May and June we had a collapse back below it. But since then it has found some support and it surged back above it again. So what we're looking at here is a weekly chart. And if I move on over to the daily chart, you can see that movement in a lot more detail of where it pushed through the 5,000 level, fell back, made a new higher high, which is a very good healthy sign, but then it collapsed, moving below its uptrend line that it developed, which was an unhealthy sign. And as you know from my previous newsletter, I had mostly been short in the market during this period. But just before I left for my holiday, I had to close down my trades because I knew I was going to be away for too long to keep my trades open and running, and I was on holidays, so it's a good time to take a break as well. But while I was away, the market just zigzagged around. So I didn't really miss very much, but it has now started its run back up. And we're having some nice moves right now in the market, which is following on from what's happening in the US and the S&P 500. So let's head on over and see what's been happening with that chart as well. So on the screen here is a weekly chart of the S&P 500. Now the S&P 500 has been trending up for quite some time in a nice upward trending channel. It's a very wide channel, and it probably became more evident over here in 2012. And at the moment, it's still trading nicely within that channel and making new highs in blue sky territory. If we head on over to the daily chart, you can see, I'll just zoom in, the recent market activity and the new highs it has been making. So the strength is still continuing in the US markets. So let me now give you an update on 2 of my trades that I shared with you in my last newsletter video update. I'll just close this down. Now, last newsletter, I shared this trade with you. Now, this share is Toll Holdings. Now, Toll Holdings had been going sideways and getting a bit of support around the 550 mark. When it pushed through the 550 mark, it gave me a signal to enter the trade. And you can see a little blue arrow on the chart here, which means that that day it came up in my scan. And when I talk about my scan, I'm talking about my short selling scan, because every day I run my daily swing trading system looking for long trades and short trades. And if it meets my criteria, it comes up in my scan. And I've also got my criteria in an expert advisor, and that's what puts the arrow on the chart. So as you can see, the share had a nice fall through support. I liked what I saw. It met all my trading rules on the day, so I sold short on the 2nd of May at $5.38. The share then fell, went sideways for a little bit, but then it fell very strongly after that. Now, I was heading off on a 6-week holiday on the 16th of June. So the week prior, I started watching my positions, and by the Thursday of that week, I closed anything I had open down because I didn't want to have anything open on the Friday because I had too much to do to organise for my holiday. So on the 13th of June, I closed down this trade at $4.74. So overall, I held that trade for 42 trade days. I made 118% on the CFD because it was a CFD trade that had a 10% margin. And I made 11.8% on the total trade size That's if you don't consider margin. Now, if I was still in that trade, it had a huge surge the next day, so that would have been an aggressive exit signal for me. If not, the stop loss would have taken me out after that when it moved back above $5. So the exits would have come shortly after, and it still would have been a profitable trade. So moving on to the next trade. Here's a chart of Transfield Services. Now, I opened this share back in May as well, and this was when the market was having its strong fall, and I was getting a lot of short trades coming up in my daily system scans that were giving me very good signals with beautiful breaks of support levels. And this was another one that's identical to what you saw with Toll Holdings, and I entered this one at $1.42 on the 15th of May. It fell very strongly, as you know, and as I updated you in my last video, I sold half on the 22nd of May at 93 cents. And this was a windfall profit strategy that I undertook because the share had moved quite a large amount, about 25% in value in a short period of time. So I sold half, and then I let the market tell me what to do with the other half. But as with the other trade, I had to exit on the 13th of June, which I did at 71 cents. And I held that trade for a total of 29 trade days, and I made a 416% return on the CFD margin and a 42% return on the total trade size. Now, if I was still in that trade, my stop loss would eventually have taken me out when it hit it a couple of weeks later. And that's what my stop loss is there for. I'll either exit because of an aggressive exit rule being met, or the share simply hits my stop. And in this trade, the stop loss had tightened up as the trade progressed. And lo and behold, both those trades continued higher after my stop was hit. So you want to have some sort of trailing stop loss that's going to help you capitalize on your trades, keep your losses small, and maximize on your profits. And as I've already mentioned, I then went away for 6 weeks. So last week was when I started to move back into the market. And so I've got some fairly fresh trades that are open and running right now in the market. And I'd like to share 2 of these with you now. So I'll just close this down. And the 2 trades I'll share with you, one's a short trade and one's a long trade. Because we've just been looking at short trades, I'll share my short trade with you first. Now, this share had been falling. As you can see, it had a huge drop here, continued lower, had a sharp rise, but then lo and behold, made another new lower low. So it was clearly in a downtrend. It's since come up and tried to recover at the same price level as over here, and then it got resistance. So it moved lower, went sideways, and when I saw it last week and it came up in my system scan on the 1st of August, it met all my trading rules, so I opened a short CFD trade. So I entered at $58.02. Now, of course, I've got no idea what's going to pan out. You know, hopefully I'm entering this trade and it's going to make another new low, but that doesn't always happen. So I've got my trailing stop loss on the chart, and I'll continue to let the market pan out, and I'll update you in my next newsletter video update, and you can see what happens with it after that. So moving on. This is a long trade that I opened on Friday. So this share came up in my scan on Friday, which is the Explorer button here. Press Explore on the ASX 300 and hit Reports. And quite a number of shares came up that day. But I liked what I saw with this one, because what had happened with this share is it had been in a downtrend, it had moved to lower lows, and now it had broken above its downtrend line and also moved above where it had got a little bit of resistance in the past, and zigzagged around getting nice support at this $3.60 level. And when it moved higher again and showing like it was bouncing, it came up in my scan. I liked what I saw, had strong volume, so I entered the trade. I've got my trailing stop loss on the chart as well, and once again, I've got no idea what's going to happen, but I've position sized the trade according to my risk, and I'll see what pans out with it. So I've got 2 fresh trades that I've just opened last week that I'll continue to share with you and update you in my next newsletter video update. And something that is worth considering too is when you're going away on a long holiday, what will you do with your trades? I keep my weekly long-term system running in the background because that's a long-term system. And my shares have much wider stop loss, and they're the sorts of ones that I could hang on to for 6 months or possibly even a couple of years. But my daily swing trading only has an average hold time of 30 days, so I can't keep a system like that open and running when I'm going to be away for longer than my average hold time. Plus, every now and then, you have to take a break. And I tell you what, it's nice because you come back feeling fresher and ready to get back into the market again. And before I finish up, I just want to let you know about some upcoming presentations I have in Sydney and Melbourne. City Index have invited myself and Jodie Ellis to come along and speak at 2 events on the 20th of August in Sydney and the 21st of August in Melbourne. So I'll be talking about my adventures as a share trader. I will showcase my daily trading routine, which I've streamlined to fit my lifestyle, and it takes only 15 minutes and sometimes less per day. Now, if you don't live in Sydney or Melbourne and you can't make it to the events, do not worry. I'm going to be running a webinar series with City Index on a fortnightly basis starting in September, so you won't miss out. And I'll send out more information about that once it comes to hand. But in the meantime, if you're interested in booking into these events, there's more details in my newsletter, and you can also head on over to my website and you'll see the information in one of the purple boxes on my homepage. Don't forget, if you need help with a trading plan, because a trading plan is so important in the stock market, or you're not sure if your trading plan's up to par, get hold of my book Smart Trading Plans. It's a step-by-step guide that will help you develop a trading plan, and it comes with a Word document that you can complete as you read through the book, and by the end of it you'll have a completed trading plan. So it's available from my website, or you can purchase it in Kindle version from Amazon. And don't forget to have a good look around my website because I've got plenty of information on here, and you can also learn about my trading systems and strategies through a course that I have called the Smart Trading Plan and System Development course. And anybody that completes that course can become a mastermind member, which is my ongoing support program for my clients. And I have my next webinar with my clients next Tuesday evening, and I'm looking forward to sharing everything with them on that webinar. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. My contact details are in the Contact Us area of my website. So until my next newsletter update, goodbye for now.